Caitlin Clark didn't just appear on NBA on NBC. She owned the room. This wasn't a courtesy invite. This was a novelty cameo. This was Caitlin Clark stepping onto one of basketball's biggest media stages and looking like she'd been there for years. Calm, sharp, funny, comfortable, and yes, very aware she was standing next to Reggie Miller and Carmelo Anthony like, I might need stilts next time. That's the thing about Caitlin Clark. She disarms you before she dissects the conversation. 1 minute she's joking about height gaps and horse games with Jamal Crawford.
So it's safe to say Caitlin Clark's debut for NBA on NBC went well. Really, had a natural presence on the broadcast. She played a game of NBC with Jamal Crawford, a horse game, that is. But before it got started, lost the first game, won the next two. I don't know how you technically spin that. I mean, if it's a series, she won it, but she lost the first game, as she lamented. But nonetheless, she gets out there and gets on the broadcast. And
the next, she's confidently speaking on the most critical CBA negotiations in WNBA history, expansion timelines, free agency chaos, and why this moment isn't just about the league, it's about all of women's sports. And here's the real tension. This wasn't just a media debut. This was a power check. Because when the biggest star in the sport says she's confident a deal gets done, that carries weight. When she talks Madison Square Garden, Team USA, Luka Dončić influences, and the physical evolution of her own game?
So it's safe to say Caitlin Clark's debut for NBA on NBC went well. Really, had a natural presence on the broadcast. She played a game of NBC with Jamal Crawford, a horse game, that is. But before it got started, lost the first game, won the next two. I don't know how you technically spin that. I mean, if it's a series, she won it, but she lost the first game, as she lamented. But nonetheless, she gets out there and
that's not fluff, that's positioning. So the question isn't whether Caitlin Clark belongs on NBA broadcasts. The question is whether the league is ready for how much influence she already has. Welcome back to Her Hoops. If you love real WNBA talk with zero fluff, subscribe and let's get into it. To really understand why this NBA on NBC debut mattered, you have to zoom out. Caitlin Clark didn't walk onto that set as just another player. She walked in as the face of a league in transition, a league balancing
She pointed out one of the most notable things on the broadcast, which is the height disparity between her and Reggie Miller and Carmelo Anthony on the broadcast, which was the height disparity between her and the NBA players on set. I'm going to wear stilts next time you see her there with Carmelo and Reggie Miller. And that's with Reggie Miller saying he's the third best shooter in the state of Indiana right now.
There's a new shooter from Indiana. See, I'm the third best shooter.
Precedented growth with unresolved business realities. Ticket sales up, arenas selling out, expansion teams added, media attention exploding. And yet, the foundation still being negotiated in real time. That's the backdrop. So when Caitlin Clark is asked about the upcoming CBA meetings, this isn't hypothetical talk. This is her generation's future being decided. Salaries, free agency timelines, roster sizes, expansion drafts. The entire infrastructure of the WNBA is on the table, and she spoke about it with a calm confidence that stood out. No panic, no hedging, no corporate deflection. She said it plainly. They're in this moment because of the product on the floor. And that's a subtle but powerful reminder. The players have already done their part. At the same time, she balanced that seriousness with humor and relatability. Joking with Reggie Miller about Indiana shooters, teasing the height difference on set, talking hoops like someone who genuinely loves the game, not someone memorizing talking points. That balance is rare, and it's why this appearance felt bigger than a broadcast cameo. It felt like a passing of trust. This wasn't Caitlin Clark the rookie anymore. This was Caitlin Clark the spokesperson, whether the league officially named her one or not. Let's break down why this appearance worked, because it wasn't accidental. First, her on-camera presence. Caitlin Clark didn't rush answers, didn't overtalk, and didn't feel the need to prove she belonged. That's veteran media composure. She listened, reacted, joked naturally, and picked her moments. That alone separates a guest from a contributor. Second, the humor. The stilt joke about standing next to Carmelo Anthony and Reggie Miller? Perfect. Self-aware. Disarming. It humanized her instantly, and it set the tone that she wasn't intimidated by the stage or the company. Third, and most important, the substance. When the conversation turned to the CBA, she didn't dodge. She didn't oversimplify. She laid out the reality. Expansion teams, more players, delayed free agency, the draft timeline, and the pressure to keep momentum. That's not surface-level commentary. That's someone who understands how fragile growth can be if timing falls apart. Then there's her basketball mind. Talking about Luka Dončić, not just praising him, but breaking down space, pace, body control, and contact absorption. That's film room thinking. That's evolution. Put it all together, and you see why this wasn't a novelty booking. NBC didn't bring Caitlin Clark on for clicks. They brought her on because she can carry conversation, not just attention. And that's a dangerous combo. Here's where things get interesting, and a little uncomfortable. Caitlin Clark is being treated like a media veteran before the league infrastructure fully reflects her value. That's the contradiction. She's trusted to speak on the biggest broadcast platforms, asked to calm concerns about the CBA, positioned as a bridge between fans and the league. Yet the business side is still catching up to the moment she helped create. That's pressure, quiet pressure. When she says she's confident a deal gets done, that reassurance doesn't land in a vacuum. Fans hear it, media repeats it, expectations rise. And suddenly, the biggest star in the league is also the unofficial stabilizer, whether she asked for that role or not. Then there's the Luka comparison. Some fans are going to hear that and immediately overreact. But listen to why she said it. It wasn't about flash or stats. It was about controlling defenders, manipulating space, and absorbing contact. The exact areas she's had to adjust to in a far more physical professional league. And that touches another nerve, because when Caitlin Clark talks about getting stronger, evolving her body, and only playing 13 games last season, it's a reminder. The hype hasn't protected her from reality. The WNBA doesn't slow down for stars. It demands adaptation. So now you've got a player who's carrying league momentum, navigating unfinished labor negotiations, reworking her game physically, and being positioned as a media voice of authority. All at once. That's not a debut. That's escalation. This is the part casual viewers might miss, but hoopheads caught immediately. When Caitlin Clark talked about Luka Dončić, she wasn't fangirling. She was diagnosing. She zeroed in on pace, angles, body control, and the art of not needing elite speed to dominate. That's a player who understands how the game slows down at the highest level, and how you survive when defenders are bigger, stronger, and more physical. And that ties directly into her own evolution. She openly admitted her body has changed since Iowa, in a good way. Stronger, more prepared for contact, more built for a league that doesn't give rookies grace periods. Combine that with the reality that she only appeared in 13 games last season, and you hear the hunger in her voice. She's not chasing hype, she's chasing reps. Then there's Team USA. That wasn't a throwaway mention. That's a signal. National team play is where legacies get cemented, where styles sharpen, and where players learn how to dominate without monopolizing the ball. That experience feeds directly back into league play. Decision-making, leadership, composure. Even her Madison Square Garden comments had layers. On the surface, lighthearted. Underneath, a recognition of how moments, venues, and spectacle still matter for women's basketball. She knows an MSG game would be an event, not because of novelty, but because of demand. What you're hearing is a player thinking long-term, about her body, her role, the league's trajectory. That's not someone reacting to the moment. That's someone preparing to shape it. What Caitlin Clark's NBA on NBC debut really showed is this. The WNBA is no longer asking for a seat at the table. It's already there. And now, the league's biggest stars are being trusted to speak in rooms that used to feel off-limits. That matters. Because visibility without credibility fades fast. What Clark brought was credibility. She didn't minimize the league. She didn't oversell it either. She talked growth, expansion, scheduling pressure, and talent development like someone invested in the long game, not just her own brand. This is how cultural shifts actually happen. When a WNBA player can sit comfortably next to Reggie Miller and Carmelo Anthony and drive the conversation instead of reacting to it, it quietly rewires expectations. It tells networks these voices hold attention. It tells fans the game translates. And it tells younger players watching that this path is viable. It also raises the stakes. If the league fumbles momentum now, with delays, uncertainty, or misalignment, the disappointment won't be abstract. It'll be visible. Because the audience is bigger, the spotlight is brighter, and the players are ready. Caitlin Clark didn't promise perfection. She promised belief. And belief from the league's most recognizable star isn't just optimism, it's leverage. This moment isn't about crossover appeal anymore. It's about confirmation. The WNBA belongs in these conversations, and its players can handle them. When the lights came on for NBA on NBC, Caitlin Clark didn't feel like a guest passing through. She felt like someone who belonged there. Not because of hype, not because of numbers, but because she understood the moment and carried it with ease. She made people laugh without trying too hard. She talked basketball without dumbing it down. She addressed the biggest business question hanging over the WNBA without flinching. And she reminded everyone, subtly but clearly, that this era of women's basketball isn't coming. It's already here. The jokes about height? Harmless fun. The Luka comparison? Basketball IQ. The Madison Square Garden comments? Vision. The CBA confidence? Leadership. Most of all, the hunger to get back on the floor healthy said everything. Strip away the broadcasts, the narratives, the debates, and what fans really want is simple. Caitlin Clark playing basketball, competing, evolving, pushing the league forward by doing what she's always done best. If this debut proved anything, it's that Caitlin Clark doesn't just elevate games, she elevates conversations. And that matters just as much as points on a stat sheet. The season can't come fast enough. This is Her Hoops, where we talk WNBA with context, clarity, and zero fluff. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who actually watches the game. Because the moment is here, and Caitlin Clark is ready for it.